I just realized some really crappy music was playing on here, pardon me. Not these necessarily, but hold on, there we go. No, not what you're looking at. I was dropping something in a garbage. Where's it at? Stuff like this. Stuff like this. You really should question, and I mean, it would come up. You would hear questions in the truth community, for fuck's sake, that were relevant to how reality works if people were thinking for themselves instead of jerking each other off, but you don't. You'd have a lot of people in that, flat earth community, all that crap, the truth community. They'd be asking each other, how come there isn't a clear outline of the path that the sun and the moon make? Artemis and Apollo. How come? How come that's omitted? Why would that be? And I'm not talking about just the Analimas. You can see a lot of, what is it fucking called offhand? I should know this. I should know this offhand, but I'm hitting a wall. What's it called? Time-lapse photography. And usually you see it shot out over a horizon, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. But you don't see diagrams, is what I probably should say, of an aerial view of it and what it's actually creating, like this. But you see these a lot. Why would that be? Ironically, then you got the duds in the flat earth community who are all... Keep in mind, if you're new here and or if you're just fucking stupid, the flat earth and the globe theory are both our master's outlines in place to mislead you. I shit you not. I shit you not. Our realm is relatively level, blah, 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 blah. It's not the whole package, and there's a bunch of misdirection. And what I was going to say is the duds in the flat earth community usually just focus on the sun and the moon, ironically, in a very superficial, prepackaged way. Something you'll find in some of the early Bibles. You should also look at the dates of those Bibles if you even put in the time to do that. If you make that a task in terms of homework and research, and you look at the dates of the Bibles based on when some of this is being shopped around, and then you hit a dry patch when you try to find something beyond that for a reason. And if you do this, you'll hit the same dates that I hit. Because our masters formulated a plan, which is the long game, the great game, and it dates back to the 16th century in a big fucking way. And a whole bunch of things were altered, and a bunch of other stuff was ceded to the public sphere in a number of ways. Stories and text. And people bought into it. These people aren't very bright. Either way, you would hear this fucking come up because it's very important. And if you think in terms of what I've rattled off on here, it's telling. I mean, the first time I pieced this jazz together, at first blush, you look at it, you see something, because it makes you think of something that's pretty fucking familiar. And if I'm not mistaken, that's why it was excluded or omitted. Because you see that, and you would have questions, more questions. And you would probably challenge what they've sold you, what you've been told, sold, and urged to repeat. But as always, take what I said with a grain of salt. I realize I didn't think for you, and some of you will cry yourselves to sleep and or whine at me. At a guy in TikTok last night. Here's just a quick story. And feel free to tune the fuck out, because most people do anyway. But I was scribbling out notes to give to somebody the next day, and in one of the videos towards the end, I was babbling about the fact that science should be replicable evidence-based research. And towards the end, I said, in stark contrast, I'm paraphrasing myself, stark contrast to, quantum physics, a belief-based system, which it is. It fucking is. And he started whining at me. He left me a bunch of comments, and what cracked me up was when I reflected on this fact, usually if somebody interacts with me, usually I'll drop what I'm doing and I'll talk to most of them, usually. At least in the beginning, usually I will. And I was pretty diehard to finish what I was doing. And this is one of the first times in 10 years that I didn't do just that. And I did tell him that I was busy. And I told him to go bother somebody else who wants to talk about quantum physics. And he didn't like that, of course. So then he reacted poorly. Keep in mind, he had just followed the account. He had just added the video to his page, which cracks me up. But then he got his feelings hurt. So he made a blanket assumption because that's what these kids are doing. That's why they bought into that shit to begin with. That's why they repeat flat earth shit, globe theory shit, quantum physics, all things quantum. Because they're not thinking for themselves. But he told me, you're not really working on a project. You're just making excuses. Which cracked me up. And I just left it at that. But then when I went back and looked at it, he blocked me. So, good times. People are fucking stupid. That's the bottom line. Why don't these things come up? Why am I pointing out shit that you guys haven't heard somewhere? Why is that? I ask myself this all the fucking time with what I've rediscovered. And this is why I'm frustrated. Because what I find online is our master's narratives. It's been corrupted. It's information that has been dragged through the mud. It's been corrupted in almost every single fucking case. And or it's just pointless noise. You know, Tartaria, birds aren't real, blah, blah, blah. I just fast forwarded through a movie called Greenland. I'm sure there's probably some lesser magic in there. It's basically another John Cusack 2012 movie. It's fucking horrible. And towards the end, after some people in a bunker underground for 9 months, just like being in the womb, nudge, nudge, something, something, they come out and they see some birds. And it just cracked me up. I was like, there are probably kids in the theater who saw that. And they probably thought, oh my God, those aren't birds, those are drones. Because people are fucking dumb.